Hello everyone and welcome back to World of Tanks with Black Knight. And today it's a review of the newly achievable Stug IV Premium Tank Destroyer. It's a tier 5 tank destroyer from the Germans. You can only get it by doing the missions, the first mission part, and by getting 20 commendations. And that's when you get the Stug IV tank destroyer as a reward. And even though you do need a lot of missions to complete before you get this vehicle, doing the missions itself would be kind of a reward on its own. The vehicle is just a little bit of that extra punch to, well, get you going for it. Although I must say the Stug IV isn't really worth it, in my opinion. As a sniper, this tank is pretty obvious and it's pretty good. It does an average of 110 damage with a 110 millimeters of penetration, so it doesn't really lack in penetration. And it does have a 7.5 centimeter Stug 40 L48 cannon, but comparing it to the Stug 3G, which gets a 7.5 centimeter Pak 42 L70 gun with more damage and more penetration. You can see where it's going. This Stug 3G actually does a bit more damage, but fires slower, so it really doesn't matter that much in DPM. Aiming time and dispersion. The dispersion from the Stug IV actually is a bit worse than on the Stug 3 with the best gun, but the aiming time is better, so it compensates for the lack of dispersion. And yeah, the caliber is the same, so you'll overpower armor exactly the same amounts of thickness. So the gun that's, well, it's actually not that bad a gun, but for a tier 5 tank it will not be overpowered. Although sniping is something you can do very well in this tank. With its 360 hit points, once you get into a tier 6 battle, I must warn you to avoid any big cannons. And tier 7 battles too. The side armor actually also counts as a health hit marker, so try not to get hit in it. Mostly when they hit the side, your side plates, they will penetrate anyway, because it's only 13 millimeters of hull armor. The armor on this tank isn't that good. You could compare it to the Panzer IV hull armor. When we take a look at the Panzer IV, and here it is, we'll take up the armor values. Hull armor 80, 30, 20. Here too, 80, 30, 20. So not really that good. It's the Stug IV. Actually, it's called Stug IV because it got the body from the Panzer IV-H without the turrets, and well, the superstructure is a bit higher than the body from the Panzer IV-H, but that means you can fit this gun onto it. If you take a look at Stug 3, it has the body of the Panzer III. So pretty logic when taking a look at the Stug 3 and Stug 4. The undercarriage, or the hull, actually decides which version of the Stug it becomes. And that's how you get the Yak Panther and Yak Tiger, because, well, the Yak Tiger is based on the Tiger II, the Yak Panther is based on the Panther. And so the Stug 3 is based on the Panzer III, and the Stug 4 is based on the Panzer IV. It actually replaced quite a lot of Panzer IVs in the mid World War II. And for the crew training, yeah, well, just normal crew things. I did put my Rheinmetall Borsig crew in it, so it has a bit of different skills, and it actually isn't this crew from this tank, but from the Rheinmetall. It's a premium tank, so it's great to train your normal tank destroyers crew in this tank. Even though you do get 100% crew with it, which I now have just put into this tank. You can see here it's from the Stug IV, not from the Stug III. And further on, yeah, the fuel range, a bit low. Actually, in the next patch there's going to be a rebalance for the tank destroyers to, well, get less fuel range. It will be more balanced, that way you will need light tanks then to actually spot for you. So it's not that tank destroyers will be massively overpowered after the patch anymore, even though they actually aren't that overpowered, but just a little bit unbalanced. And yeah, the view range from this tank has already been, well, put lower than from the other one, although 310 meters base view range. The actual view range is actually less because, well, my commander isn't trained for this vehicle. And, well, that's also why I put my coated optics on it, because in this tank with tier 5 battles you'll get quite often to be the last one alive because you're sniping in the back. This tank has no armor, so it cannot use its armor. The signal range of 620 meters for tier 5, it's adequate and will do for when you actually well, get to shoot at something that's spotted by a teammate. But most things that you can shoot at will be spotted by someone close to you. And when you shoot, make sure you're behind a bush and not able to see through the bush yourself, so you will not be spotted yourself. And yeah, that's all. That's just about everything I can say about this tank. And to compare it to the Stug 3G is the best thing I can do. Although the Stug 3G should actually, well, if you put this one on it, it has the same damage and penetration. The second gun, it's actually the same. You could also put the howitzer on it, which will make it a, well, full round Stug 3. The Stug 3 did use howitzers. But yeah, the Stug IV actually is a pretty decent tank, but you will get a love-hate relationship with this tank. A love relationship because, well, you got it for free. Actually, with about 6 million profits, for me at least. I did the missions and I had about 6 million credits when I got this tank. I also spent 3.5 million of that 6 million to get the weapon trigger, so yeah, didn't really keep that much credits out of it. And yeah, I'm just going to show you guys some gameplay from this tank that you can actually see this tank in a sniping battle doing, well, good. I wouldn't say that it would be doing great or fantastic. That's pretty hard to get in this tank anyway, but it did good. I played a good game in this tank, but only one, so hope you're going to enjoy the battle, and I'll be talking through what I was thinking at the time, I hope. And, well, as I promised, here's the replay that I had. If you want to see the stats, check the link below to the WOT replays page, and you can see the stats there yourself, so I don't really have to talk about it in any haste or show you guys to it to you guys at the end, because, well, mostly you're not actually interested in how good I'm playing in this tank, but you just want to see how this tank plays. So there's just this single replay, because, well, getting a good game with this tank actually took quite some games to play, and it just ruined my stats for the day. So I was like, yeah, I'm not going to play this tank very often. And as you can see here on this map, I'm well, looking for a sniping position instantly. And we do have some guys moving forward. The Electo there, moving up front. Well, his stats don't show he's that good, but he's a beginning player and actually does make some mistakes, it seems still, but he is a nice guy, it seems. He did get into the front lines with a tank that doesn't really have any armor, just like the Wolverine there does. The Wolverine isn't really going to like what happens. And yeah, that was German accuracy. And right now, my gun seems to be hitting again. And this is what sniping in a tank destroyer is. And yeah, that's a Panzer IV-H. And 110mm of penetration on this tank is more than enough to finish most of them off. And that's already 777 damage. Wow, lucky number 7. And yeah, I'm trying to get a shot there on the 82, but he's just behind the rock for me. And if he moved forward any further, he would have been outflanked by my platoon mate, who's in the T1 Heavy. And the T34 is on the other side of that 82. Got a shot here, but just barely. I fire, but yeah, he's already finished, so no chance there. I did do a slight pause there. I had to make a screenshot for the thumbnail, which worked out pretty well, if I might add. So and yeah. And it's not just about the gun this tank, because, well, there you have the Electo again. I thought, oh dear, he's going to block me or anything, but he's actually not blocking me, he's checking me out. He hadn't seen this tank yet. He's like, oh, that's a nice tank. Shots like that would not be able to hit any other tank, let alone damage. There he goes again, and I took his track out. He got hit by something, and well, sorry Electo, but that skill is mine. And my teammate, my platoon mate there is now asking for help from me, because he's up against the KV-1. T-40, well, he fires a shot, hits the building. Well, if he was firing at the KV-1, he wasn't able to hit it anyway, so... And the KV-1 there, he is up against a T1 Heavy, but just slightly under his health points. Slightly more health points, but I set him on fire, and my platoon mate finishes him off. And that was actually the game I had in this tank. That was some good to show to you guys. And it shows how good this tank actually is in sniping. And, well, it didn't show you how bad its armor values actually are, but you can guess that it ain't very good. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys at the next review.